Hey, what's up guys, it's LEGO Hobo 910 here with another LEGO video, and in this video I'm reviewing set number 76109 Quantum Realm Explorers from the Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. Let's get right into the review. First of all, before we get into the main awesome build of the set, we have this golden trophy, which sadly you can't shrink down your Ant-Man suit and hide in. Though if you do have the mini Ant-Man, you could hide him in here. And then we also have two clear studs, very easy to get lost, for some stud shooters I'll show you later. And I think using clear for stud shooters isn't a good idea. It'll get lost real easy, even easier than normal. So now, let's start looking at this awesome vehicle to explore the Quantum Realm with. First of all, it just looks great. It uses lots of interesting techniques and pieces that you don't see used that often together, such as these roller skates and these big pipes. And these pipe pieces also have lots of great texture built in, so that way they don't have to use all sorts of bricks to texture as well as the barrels and these textured bricks. And they also use interesting pieces like this, and then put some elements behind to give it even more depth and texture. But then this set does have a decent amount of stickers, such as those two, and those are on the other side as well, mirrored. But then this dome here, that is printed. There's also a few stickers up there. But overall, it's not too bad on the stickers, and it doesn't rely too much on them for detail. And interestingly enough, it also uses a helicopter base. You can see some of that there, the landing skids for helicopters. You can see those lines going through, and then also connecting up there. But the way they built this up, you can't even tell that there's helicopter treads in here very well, unless if you look closely and if you know. And I think it's kind of interesting that they did that. It just gives it this... It's, first of all, a good piece, large good piece to connect, and it's also just an interesting thing. And then on the front here, it has these two manipulators, which can rotate up there where they're clipped, and then also rotate there. You can also rotate the hands around, and they can be used to pick up stuff in the Quantum Realm, poke stuff, explore. Also, maybe, if need be, they can be used as a melee boxing weapon to slap quantum villains. Then underneath here are the two primary weapons, the stud shooters, which shoot clear studs. And then on either side, you have these boosters, which you may have already seen me moving. They're on ball joints, so they can move in, out, up, down, all around, except, you can't get it to do a full 360. Not very easily and not well. I wouldn't recommend it, but it can. And then, yeah, they use these cool tube pieces with some roller skates, and they left some exposed studs there, which I think gives it an interesting look and adds a lot more kind of harsh looking detailing. And then you can position these backwards like that, and you could imagine that these are additional thrusters as well, and these could be kind of your steering thrusters, whereas these are more so your power thrusters. You have three of these coming out the back. They use barrels on the end. There is a bit of blue that you can see way down in the back of the bottom barrel there, but for the most part you won't see it unless you're looking directly into it. And then also you have some binoculars there for maybe some smaller thrusters. They didn't include like any orange or blue or something coming out the back for the actual thrust, which I kind of wish they did, but then again, I think this looks nice as well, not seeing that. And then they also have little bits of detailing under there like that, so that way you can get your underbody wash and make sure that there is squeaky clean. And also, you can see some hinges in there, which don't connect to any hinges, except, once again, just add more detail, and they're kind of like a slope, except looking a lot more industrial and kind of half-built, not like super crazy built, because as you can see, there's wires sticking out, and this isn't like a super complete build yet. And then, I'm talking like in-universe, by the way, not that this build doesn't look complete, like, it kind of has the incomplete rustic look. And then, yeah, these are some nice big prints with silver rings around within a dark bluish gray ring in or more, and then it also has little black lines on it. Then around here we have the kind of red texturing that Ant-Man has on his suit. It's not really showing up on camera, but it's a light red with a dark red print all over it, as well as a few wires there. And then the bubble cockpit here can open with these on the side, which are just free clips. And then this can hinge right here, and it can also hinge up there. And then you can fit one minifigure in there, and this is sitting in the back here because they have a clip there in the back for weapons or accessories, except there really aren't that many in the set other than this one weapon we'll look at later. And then there's 2 little steering sticks to control the vehicle as well as the manipulators. They didn't really include a console, but then again, they really didn't have room too well. They could have put one of those commonly used printed consoles in there, but I don't know, I feel like it could have done with it, but then again, I'm not too salty that it doesn't have either. Overall, this is a really cool looking vehicle. So first up, we have our main protagonist, Ant-Man, and he has 2 accessories. This jar of pin particles there just uses one of those cap pieces that you see all over, and then on the bottom, just a silver stud, and then just red cylinder in the middle to create this little jar of pin particles. Then he also has this ray gun something. I don't recall seeing anything like this in the movie, and I'm like 99% sure Lego just made it up. You could imagine that it's like a shrink ray, which he uses to shrink things and grow things instead of the discs that he actually uses, but I don't know. It's a cool design, but it's just not accurate. And let's pull that out of his hand as I break it into pieces. And then we come to the actual Ant-Man minifigure. They did great printing here on the torso and legs, with all sorts of silver and then different shades of red. You can see a bit of that bubble pattern that was on the canopy as well. It's kind of hard to see though, since it's so small. And they also continued the printing around to the back on the torso, which once again, very detailed and looks good. And then we come to the Ant-Man helmet, the same one they've been using since the first Ant-Man movie. That, to be honest, really isn't that accurate. They should make a more updated version, where the lines aren't transparent, but the eye holes are. And then also it actually properly covers his mouth. Plus, the eye holes aren't that ovular in the movie. They're more of rectangular shapes. But then, let's take this helmet off here to reveal this face here. I'm pretty sure this has been used in many other sets. I think it was also for Henry in the Pirates of the Caribbean Silent Mary set. But I don't really feel like this is an accurate face for Paul Rudd. It also has this secondary face where he's scared. Which, once again, none of these faces I really think fit Paul Rudd. But then you're going to cover it up with the helmet anyway. And here's the minifigure that everyone's been complaining about. When I first saw the images for this set, I didn't really notice what the Wasp looked like. And I was like, yay, an Ant-Man of the Wasp set. I'm going to be getting an awesome Ant-Man. But then when I saw pictures of it later and saw reviews, I realized just how bad they did on this Wasp. Like, the torso printing there is really good. It has the same kind of bubble designing as Ant-Man. You can see the gold and kind of dark mustardy yellow, except it's not like a disgusting mustardy yellow. It combines to have the mustardy yellow underneath with then gold lace on top. Then bits of red and blue there. A bit of silver on the belt. But then they didn't do any hip printing. I think hip printing was really necessary. It would continue the design down. And leg printing would have been extra phenomenal to kind of finish out the point on the design. But then we move to the wings here, which are nothing like Wasp's wings. Hers are thin and long and graceful, and they gave her these fairy wing pieces in a light blue, which isn't at all the color of her wings. The Parademon wings from Justice League, I think they should have done wings kind of like those, or kind of more so like the Geonosian wings as well, stuff like that, where it's thin and spindly. I think the Parademon wings would have worked well, just like, obviously, not exactly the Parademon wings, just slightly different, because her wings are a lot thinner, more graceful, transparent, and not light blue. And then we come to the helmet. They've used this helmet on many minifigures, and I think on the majority of them, like Vulture, Invincible, Iron Man, it's worked, except on Wasp, not at all. To be honest, I'd rather have them had just used another Ant-Man helmet in different colors, which wouldn't be accurate at all either, but it'd be a lot more accurate than this, because her helmet is sleek, it's kind of angular at the front, and it has the antenna. And recently they also revealed an image for a Firefly helmet for some DC sets next year, which has antenna, which would be like perfect for Wasp. It still wouldn't be as good because it still wouldn't have transparent eyes. Instead they decided to print this gold visor on, which has the right shape, but it's not transparent. And then the bottom of the face, they did good printing, but just the helmet piece doesn't work. The printing on the helmet is pretty good. So whoever's in charge of printing out Lego, they did it good, but whoever's in charge of selecting minifigure parts, they did a horrible job on Wasp. Then we take off her helmet, and I think that's a fairly good face. And then she has the backup face of her angry, except you'll never see any face because there's no lenses in this shoddy helmet. And then we pop that off, pop off the wings, and then you can see the back, which has the pack that these atrocious wings pop out of, and then some more excellent gold and blue printing. So overall, Wasp, she's been like massively criticized, and I think is going to go down in LEGO history, or at least be remembered for quite a while as being a horrible representation of the minifigure. Like, I think if they just did different wing piece and different helmet piece, it'd be perfectly fine. Maybe, but then they could have gone all out and continued the printing. But overall, the Wasp, this is the minifigure that you would want from the set, because we've had many more Ant-Mans, and the next minifigure, Ghost, isn't like a super amazing minifigure, but since she's one of the main characters in the movie, you would expect them to do this right and go all out with new helmet pieces and new wing pieces, except they decided not to, and LEGO went lazy with this. I don't know. Overall, Wasp is a fairly crappy minifig. And then we have Ghost, who's a pretty excellent minifigure. I don't know why she has blue power blast, because she never shoots anything in the movies. At least I don't remember her shooting anything, but I'm like 99% sure she doesn't. And then they use the hood, which I think looks really good. They use the dark bluish gray as opposed to the light gray of the rest of the suit, which kind of flows and gives it a bit of a different color. My one problem with this is it's kind of not a super accurate color, because in the movie you can tell her suit is supposed to be white, except it's gotten all dirty, so it became kind of gray. But I feel like if they used white, it'd be too bright. I don't really feel like there's any LEGO color that could fit this well, except I think this did a fairly good job. She also has some fairly nice detailed printing on the front there with a few little light blue spots. And then also they got really 3D there for the chest piece. They used like optical illusions and whatever, with black for the shadow, and then they also used lots of dark gray there. And that excellent printing carries around to the back. And then you can see her face through there, the mask, which looks pretty ominous. We're going to take this off so you can see it a bit better. Kind of reminds me of Ultron's face. It has some red, like the main red eyes, but then little red dots underneath, as well as kind of red forehead bit. And then it has some dark bluish gray wrapping around for the cheeks. And on the other side, there is her actual face when she takes off the mask, and she's pretty angry there. This uses the dark flesh tone, and that's what it looks like with the hood on. Overall, she's a pretty good minifigure. There's like nothing super amazing about Ghost, except it's pretty well executed, and I think it's a good representation. Overall, I think the actual build of the set is excellent, using all sorts of creative pieces, mixing in the colors of gold and dark gray and red and light gray and bits of black everywhere. It just looks nice. It is a bit heavy on stickers, except it doesn't rely too much on the detail. It's a pretty great vehicle. And then just some kind of random accessories that I think the Pym Particles is pretty good. I don't think they needed this weird random gun. The trophy, it's a neat little inclusion. That's a bit of an Easter egg in the movie. And then you have a great Ghost minifigure. I'm pretty sure that's the same Ant-Man they've been using for a while. It might be slightly different printed, except the helmet definitely needs an update, but it's fine. And then you have the atrocious Wasp minifigure. That's all, and peace.